Alrighty, folks. Hello, and welcome back to yet another Coinsider live stream. My name is Kevin. I'm your host, and we do these Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 12 noon Eastern Time. Try to do these as consistently as possible so you know exactly when to join me next. But first, if you don't mind giving me a quick mic check. Wait, where did my mic check thing go? Uh okay, sound is good. Um okay, let me see. One sec. I need to change this per liquids so that I can add another one. One second. Okay, so today I want to talk about why I swapped a bunch of my ETH for Hyperliquid's HYPE, which is a new all-time highs as we speak, by the way, which is quite impressive. I will leave timestamps down below for those watching the VOD afterwards so you can skip around as needed. And remember, the goal is 100 likes on the stream. So if you can help me out real quick by smashing that like button, that would just be amazing. And I would be forever grateful to you. And that's whether you're watching live or after the fact. Um, Thank you and welcome, everybody. So, like I said, what I want to talk about today is why I sold a bunch of ETH for hype. And I want to look at that in two ways. One is what is Hyperliquid doing, why they're rocketing, and two, why there is some potential concern on the Ethereum side, or maybe not concern, but we're going to take a look at that. It's going to be interesting. I promise you it's going to be interesting. Um, But first, let's take a really brief look at the market pulse. I'm going to keep this more brief than usual. But okay, let's see. Going to keep this more brief than usual. Um, So yeah, I mean, things are up a little bit, but altcoins are looking strong right now. Solana up almost 5%, Dogecoin up quite a bit, Hyperliquid up 8%, and we're gonna talk about why. This is huge. You're gonna want to pay attention to the Hyperliquid part, and it's making me more bullish on hype than I have been in a while, to be honest. And I just bought a ton of hype, so we're gonna talk about that. Um, let's see. Fear and greed is at neutral. Nothing really looking. Altcoin season is kind of ticking up a little bit. Um, these days. Now, people did predict that BTC. I think it was Ben Cohen predicted that Bitcoin dominance was going to kind of rise again in September, but so far it's going down again. I mean, it could always just be translated a little bit like this, or maybe like this, whatever. But we'll see because Bitcoin dominance has been dropping in the past couple of days. Nothing really too much to note, to be honest, but definitely interesting to see how this Bitcoin dominance plays out in the month of September. Bitcoin ETF, still some outflows here. And let's see, ETH ETF. A big outflow. Wow, that's not good to see for ETH. Another reason I swapped my ETH for hype, I guess. And let's just take a quick look at the liquidation heat map. I'll move this to a week. Wow, there's a lot of shorts, a lot of longs to liquidate at 109, and some shorts at, yeah, not too much. I mean, yeah, we'll see about this. Usually these liquidity zones are like magnets for price, but it's not always like it has to go there immediately, you know? Like I've said before. Um, okay. I said I would keep this. You began accumulating at 37. Congratulations. It's at 51 right now. G1, you did great with that. Okay, so I told you this market poll is going to be quick. Let's jump to the Hyperliquid section. And I kind of gave you a spoiler with this caption, but it has to do with their USDH stablecoin as to why they are rocketing so much. Let me close some of these tabs actually. Okay, let me close some tabs and open some new ones. So, check this out. This is why Hyperliquid is rocketing, if you are curious. They are releasing USDH, a Hyperliquid first, Hyperliquid aligned compliant USD stablecoin. This is in their Discord. On the next network upgrade, oh, right here. The USDH ticker currently reserved by the protocol will be released by a validator vote in a transparent on-chain process. It's well suited for a Hyperliquid first, Hyperliquid aligned, and compliant USD stablecoin. They will allow a user address to purchase USDH ticker based on voting. It is a canonical ticker with high demand. Validators will vote on the team with best equipped to build a natively minted Hyperliquid first stablecoin. And yeah, that is the announcement. Hyperliquid's price. Look at this rocket ship. Oh my goodness. New all-time highs, by the way. Check this out. New all-time high as of 43 minutes ago. So congratulations, all hype holders and hype believers, such as G1, for example. I mean, I'd rather be the hype of Hyperliquid than something in like a boring or dead ecosystem, Harvey, in my honest opinion. No offense if you're a big Bear fan. I know some people are. But let's talk some more about the stablecoin because there's a lot of interesting stuff. Check this out. If you don't remember, Hyperliquid right now uses USDC by Circle. It's freezable. Hyperliquid has 7% of all USDC on chain on its platform. All yields flow to Circle. What they want is their own stablecoin, safer reserves, hype buybacks, buyback interop compliance, and ramps. And they want to redirect yield into hype buybacks. So they've come up with a bidding game where parties bid to issue USDH stablecoin with the best characteristics for their users. So this is huge, guys. This is huge. And there's some more. USDH proposal. Remember, they have to put up proposals. Issuers, stablecoin issuers have to put up proposals. So far, there's native markets, Paxos, as we've heard before, Agora, Frax. And a lot of them are Genius compliant. Some of them are even Mika compliant. That's the EU's stablecoin framework. And they're promising to like buy back and redistribute hype and 100% of net revenue to buy back and stuff like that. Right? So there may be more coming soon, but so far, the vote proposals due by September 10th. So that's soon. That's in 2 days. And validators vote on September 14th. So another reason I think that we're pumping is because people might be buying hype to like vote on these proposals. So we have until potentially September 14th for this buy pressure to continue. And yeah, Paxos, You guys know Paxos, Agora. There's some strong, heavy hitters here. Check this out. Incredible seeing every stablecoin issuer scramble over the weekend to win Hyperliquid's upcoming USDH stablecoin. Hyperliquid's becoming one of the most powerful platforms within the crypto economy. And people will vote for who can present a credible vision for USDH growth beyond margin on Hypercore. And check this out. There's some drama here. One of the most interesting things about the USDH proposals is that we get to see issuers point out each other's respective flaws. Like Agora calls out bridge banking with a small regional bank. Small banks have less equity, blah, blah, blah. Look, check this out. Insufficient traditional finance infrastructure. Many issuers today utilize the same small regional bank for the stablecoin issuance operations. USDC issuance alone on Hyperliquid exceeds 5 billion. The only reasonable custodians for USDH are globally systemically important banks like State Street, JP Morgan, BNY Mellon. Bridge's provider has a balance sheet of less than 2 billion, whereas State Street, Agora's reserve custodian, has over 49 trillion in assets. So they're calling out people's flaws here with it's like a death battle with these issuers per se. Okay, let me open up some more links. There's a lot more interesting stuff to look at here, I promise you. And a lot of it makes me bullish on Hype either way. Let me take a look at the comments real quick. Make them a target for cyber attacks? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Turn off button is completely acceptable. You mean the USDC? You mean USDC PM squared? If so, you are correct. But anyways, let's continue with this Hyperliquid stuff. Hyperliquid has now entered the stablecoin wars. The amount of deposited USDC eclipses 5 billion. I do not expect this to slow down. And they're seeking to provide institutional grade infrastructure and sharing 95 to 100% of the revenue generated back to the Hyperliquid Assistance Fund. That makes me so bullish on Hype. Yeah, it's just going to make us look. Hyperliquid USD TVL. It's up and to the right. Super bullish for Hyperliquid and Hype. Wonder if the market has realized that Circle's biggest growth engine and likely 10% of its net revenue is at significant risk this week. They're saying Circle's USDC is at risk if Hyperliquid has its own USDH that many of its users are going to migrate to. Someone even goes as far as writing, Circle is basically a zero, isn't it? Banks going to roll their own stables, Hyperliquid, Polymarket, and anyone else with a real user base going to cut them off too, heading into a rate-cutting environment. Ooh. Check this out, guys. Check this out. This is Circles. Remember when this absolutely rocketed? Too bad I didn't keep my puts. My puts would have been printing. I bought puts for like 80 for right here. Let me just show you. I bought puts for like 80 and I got impatient. I bought it around like here or something. And I bought it for like December. So that would have been printing right now. I don't even have to worry about time decay at the start of September. That would have been printing. I knew Circle was going to drop. And it's not only Circle, like other IPOs too, like Figma. Look at Figma. Oh my goodness. This is ugly as hell. This is ugly, ugly, ugly. IPOs are so like pump and dump meme coins, guys. Don't buy IPOs. They're pump and dump meme coins right now. It's crazy. What do y'all think about this? Do y'all still hold Circle? Anybody? I wouldn't. USDH isn't up yet, but you will use it on the Hyperliquid platform. It will be a native stablecoin for their platform. Yeah, Circle is all hype. Exactly. They have so many risks now. And like other big companies are getting in on the stablecoin play. Banks are going to roll their own stablecoins. I'm bearish on Circle like crazy. Graham, I think it depends on what happens beforehand. I think if we front run, then it will be a sell the news event. But it depends. I'll be watching closely for sure, and in upcoming streams as well, which is why you guys should all give me a quick like on the stream if you're watching live or if you're watching the VOD after the fact. Anyhow, I have a few more things about Hyperliquid. Check this out. Imagine being the intern at Circle who had to tell Jeremy Allaire, yeah, 10% of our supply is on this thing called Hyperliquid. And he even had to pose, the CEO of Circle. Wait, did I? The CEO of Circle even had to say, we're coming to the Hype ecosystem in a big way. Hyper fast native USDC with deep and nearly instant cross-chain interoperability will be well received. So he's saying that they're going to add additional functionality for USDC in the Hyperliquid ecosystem, as that's the only way to get on Hyperliquid right now is USDC. So they are definitely taking note. Check that. Circle chose to support native USDC on HBAR, Linea, Polkadot, XRP, and Algorand before Hyperliquid, which is crazy. Crazy. Terrible decision from strategy-wise. But maybe it's not the end of the world for USDC and Circle, because check this out. USDH doesn't mean that other stablecoins will not be used. To reiterate, this is just a vote for the USDH ticker. It does not gain any special privileges by nature. There will continue to be multiple stablecoins on Hyperliquid blockchain and new stablecoin teams who join the Hyperliquid ecosystem. USDH will be one of many. So just keep that in mind. Now, remember, I said that I swapped a bunch of my ETH for Hyperliquid. Now, this is the bull case for Hyperliquid that I just shared. But what about the bear case for ETH? That has to do with this whole discussion of Ethereum versus Stripe's new blockchain, Tempo. Now, you may think this is boring, but there's actually some really interesting discussion here that may forever change the landscape of like the blockchain and crypto space. Let me just pull up some stuff. Let's see. Just pulling up some stuff. Okay, first of all, is ETH in trouble? Stripe and Paradigm just unveiled Tempo, a blockchain built from the ground up for payments. It promises sub-second finality over 100,000 TPS and fees that can be directly paid in stablecoins. Visa, OpenAI, Shopify, and Deutsche Bank are already on board as design partners. And this guy, one of the co-founders of Multicoin Capital, said this is the beginning of the end for L2s and ETH's L2 thesis, because they decided to build their own layer 1 instead of an L2 on Ethereum. So food for thought. Now, if you don't know, Matt Huang is the founder of Paradigm, one of the top VC firms in all of crypto, and he was tasked to lead this new Tempo project. He's saying it's going to be permissionless, blah blah blah. Why L1 rather than Ethereum L2? He's saying that we're still heavily invested in Ethereum, but they want a decentralized validator set. They want to be unquestionably neutral, which a lot of people are like, are you sure? They're like, are you sure you're going to be neutral? This is like done by Stripe in a centralized manner. And they're saying like a lot of design reasons. Yeah. So here's some analysis of it. According to Matt Huang, Tempo chose to build an L1 instead of an Ethereum L2 because they think that a decentralized validator set is a necessary requirement for partners to ensure credible neutrality. No mention of other economic reasons or talk of a new token. He also wrote that they don't want to be dependent on the speed of Ethereum L1 progress. Crypto is entering its practical era. We're moving deeper into revenue and value territory. We're moving away from DAOs, Fugazi decentralization, overemphasis on idealism and tribalism, etc. The world doesn't care about your maximalisms. They care about your bottom line. They care about practicality. And this is key, folks. They want control. They want to scale. And someone wrote, literal investment firm launching an L1, the token will come. And it is the real product. And it's also the real reason it's an L1 to take advantage of the L1 token premium. Interesting. And someone was like, to ensure credible neutrality, and they want control. Meh. What do y'all think about this? And check this out. Remember Facebook's Libra? People are saying this is like Libra 2.0, but that Libra was too early. But Tempo's time seems spot on. Clear schism and cypherpunk values. With these names in the cabal, success feels preordained. Could be a high tide raises all boat for Ethereum. Can be frustrating to see VCs with competing theses. It's like a Paradigm. They bet on Ethereum, but apparent hedge with Tempo. Would be a shame if there was a token launch. Getting heavy 2017 to 2018 consortium blockchain vibes. Because they're like, what shame will token launch bring? Why do we need yet another token? For too long, VCs are looking for exit liquidity in form of tokens. The whole idea is back to front. You should only get liquidity when value has been created. And then here's someone else's take. Camila Russo writes that like they are building a permission chains backed and incubated by Stripe and Paradigm while claiming to be neutral. This makes a lot of sense for Stripe and Paradigm, but doesn't make a lot of sense for users. Nobody really needs a payment L1. But here's the thing. I think she misses the point because the founder of Stripe explained this in his Hacker News post right here. He said, I don't think that customers or businesses should see Tempo. It should be a platform like Swift or ACH that others deploy behind the scenes to orchestrate transactions. Decentralized internet scale Swift isn't exactly the right analogy, but it's not totally wrong either. So this is more like a behind the scenes thing, and we're not going to be like choosing to use Tempo for stuff, right? And here's another interesting take. This guy is saying that Stripe is trying to build a next generation Visa network. The credible neutrality and collaboration is because Stripe doesn't want risk here to solely build a competing payment network, which they clearly are and are gaslighting everyone while doing so. Visa and MasterCard are playing catch up on chain. They're saying, will they fight back? Will they cut off Stripe? Opportunity up for grabs here is enormous. Probably $1 trillion in enterprise value to be won or lost if we look a decade down the road. So this guy is saying, we're thinking about it wrong. They're trying to create a payment network that competes with Visa and MasterCard instead, and are trying to gaslight people to think that they're being, collaborative, but they're not. So this is a very interesting way to think about it. Check this out. Amazing that Zuck was 6 years ahead of the curve, but built Libra and it could have been a real competitor, but regulators crushed it, and now Stripe and Paradigm get to run the playbook. Remember this thing with Libra? How it had all these big partners? And then now, Stripe and Paradigm's Tempo has Anthropic, Copang, Deutsche Bank, DoorDash, Ledbank, Mercury, Nubank, OpenAI, Revolut, Shopify, Standard Chartered, Visa, and more. Interesting. Did Meta get screwed here? Did Meta get screwed because they got their Libra crushed because it was the wrong timing? And then this guy who used to work at, who used to be the creator of Diem/Libra, co-creator, said that the issue wasn't regulations, it's the fact that, wait, let me see, he says, the problem is that this entire bull case is based on a fundamental misreading of what actually killed Libra. The popular story is that Libra was a regulatory train wreck. What happens with the antibodies of the financial system? The powerful incumbents identified Tempo as a new threat and begin to swarm. He's saying, after a decade of spectacularly failed attempts to own private blockchain clubs, the big banks are begrudgingly coming around to the idea that open, permissionless networks are the only way forward. And at the same moment, a new generation of challengers, led by Stripe and Circle, are betting everything on the opposite idea, that the future belongs to slick-branded proprietary chains. The problem with corporate chains like Tempo isn't a matter of code, it's a matter of incentives. A tech player builds a network, promises fairness, but once they have a captive market, the temptation to tilt the playing field becomes irresistible. Would a sane competitor bet its future on Stripe's promise not to eventually favor its own products? The answer is no, in my opinion. Crypto's purpose is to break the cycle of broken promises. So this is a very interesting take. Very interesting take. Okay, folks. I want to skip the KOL call tracking segment today that I usually do next, but we will definitely touch on it on Wednesday. What I do want to do now is go to a change my mind segment. which is about the markets. But check this out. Change my mind. Let me know what y'all think, chat. Max pain is that the top is in, or we get a parabolic rally. So what do I mean by this? So there is a common phrase in the markets that the markets like to inflict the maximum amount of pain to like the participants. And right now, if you think about it, most people are saying that like we get one final leg up and then the top is in. I think max pain would be that that is wrong and that either the top is truly in, which I'm leaning a little bit less on because a lot of people are feeling bearish these days, and the community sentiment is rarely right, as we've seen multiple times in history, for years, for like all of markets even, or we get like a true alt season, which many people are not really foreseeing right now. Like, let's be honest, besides the clowns who are just using it for engagement bait, saying like alt season is coming, who really believes that we get a broad-based like parabolic alt season right now? Who really believes that? I don't think anybody does, right? So my argument is that if we're thinking about this from the max pain perspective, I think that it's either that the top is already in and that we're all waiting for a next leg up that's not coming, or we get like a crazy broad-based alt season rally that almost nobody is expecting either. What do y'all think, chat? Or do you think that it's stupid to think about max pain as a market thesis or market theory? Yeah, exactly. Too many people are still expecting another leg up. That wouldn't be max pain. I think top is in or parabolic rally would be max pain. But what do y'all think? I'm curious to hear what everyone's thoughts are. How is the top in if societies are still struggling? The suckers believe we'll get a 2021 alt season. Does anyone honestly believe that though, Brillo? I don't believe that. You don't believe that. Does anyone in chat believe that? And the people on X who post about alt season, I think they're just engagement baiting. They're just trying to grow their audience and increase their influence. Do you think they're positioned as such in the market? I would bet no. I would bet no one is really truly positioned for a crazy alt season to come. So what I mean is the top is already in, more likely to be max pain. That is possible. 2 rate cuts, so there's no way we won't get an alt season. Well, I guess there we go. There's the counter argument. Maybe some people do think we're going to get a broad-based alt season, and max pain is at the top is in. Max pain. You don't know what max pain? Here, let me try to find something. Max pain theory for the markets. So max pain is for like options, but in the broader sense, it's the idea that the markets like to make it the most difficult possible, take the most difficult path for the most amount of people. It just isn't mathematically possible. I That's what we all think, in my opinion. But maybe we'll get a surprise. Maybe we'll get like a massive surprise rate cut that just rockets everything, right? So yeah, folks, that was fun. Um, Definitely check out my link below to join Retail DAO if you haven't already. I'm working on a terminal with a developer in our community that is going to do a lot of interesting things. Actually, can I show that to y'all? Maybe I want to show that to y'all real quick. Um, where is it? Right here. So this will be available to VIP users first, and then pro users second. Let me see if I can see this. Okay. So the goal is to create a terminal for our DAO's member that will become a key part of their weekly workflow and make your lives easier as investor and traders. The terminal will include multiple different sections, but we will build and launch them one at a time. A market overview, opportunity radar, resources, KOL call tracker, tokenomics details, and more. We're starting with the market overview, and the goal of that is to give you a good sense for how the market is currently and where it's headed. Target user is swing trader, long-term investor, not really for day trader or like altcoin only focused trader. The solution is to curate the absolute most important indicators, charts, and metrics that give us a real sense for the state of the market. Make sure they are displayed in a clear manner that allows even beginners to understand what's going on and what it means for the markets. So I have some ideas here, like ETF flows, the state of leverage, like if shorts are crowded, balance or longs crowded, future stuff, and if it's like danger zone or healthy, moving averages, if we're like overheated, overstretched, normal, or like oversold, and if we're in a bullish or bearish regime, and also rotation breadth, like Bitcoin season versus altcoin season in our own way, and then liquidity pulse with a US 2-year yield and an explanation of what you should be looking for there. So in my opinion, these are the most important things that we should keep an eye on. Not like every single day, but like, let's say 2 times a week may be enough to check on these things. And the idea is to give you a really good sense for where the market is and where it's going in the short to midterm. Because I know some of y'all may be like, oh, we need some like on-chain stuff, but we want to make this like forward looking and future proof. I guess that's the way to put it, future proof. Because a lot of the stuff that worked in prior times is not as relevant anymore in this new industry and new era where it's more dominated by paper Bitcoin, by derivatives products, by like ETFs, OTC trades, by corporations, institutions, digital asset treasuries. It's a really new regime, and a lot of the stuff like back in the day when it's like whales selling on chain to like newbies, that just doesn't work as well. It doesn't fundamentally make as much sense as some of these things. So we're focused on things like derivatives, on ETF flows, on raw price action with moving averages, on like altcoin rotation breadth, and also like macro stuff as well. We could add more stuff to this in future, but after a lot of conversations and a lot of research, these are the ones that I want to add initially. So like I said, you should join Retail DAO. This is going to be open for VIP members first, which is 250K retail tokens or above. And then we're adding access to pro members, which is 100,000. So stay tuned for this. Really proud of this. Dan was an early member, early founding contributor too, but yeah, he decided to work on other stuff. We're still like would love to collab with him and don't have any ill will. But yeah, just to answer your question, they had some different visions of what was important or how to build this out per se. Yeah, I hope this dashboard's going to be really useful for y'all. So hope y'all join Retail DAO using my link below. Once again, if you don't mind giving me a quick like, that would be greatly appreciated. And also, yeah, I think that's it. I will see y'all Wednesday and do the KOL call tracking segment at that time. I hope y'all have a great Monday, a great start to your week, and yeah,